Hello and welcome to the first session on production management. In this session, we shall understand the meaning of the production function, what happens in a production process, and how to manage the production function. Now, what is production? What exactly do you understand by this term? Now, is it manufacturing of certain items within a secure premises? Do you need a factory for it? Do you simply store material in a certain place and then hand it over or send it out to customers? For example, a refrigeration unit. Or do you move items from one place to another, like with a transport company? Or let's take the case of IT services. Is that production? What exactly do you mean by the term production? Now, literally speaking, production means to produce. So you have to produce something. Unless and until you produce something, you cannot speak of production. Now, production is a process of converting a single or a group of different items into another item which can be used to meet certain predefined need. Now, why do I say a single or a group of different items? The fact is that in order to produce something, a certain good or service that is useful, you need certain raw materials. These raw materials are shaped into are these raw materials are converted into different forms, and finally you get an end product. So you may have one raw material or two different kinds of raw materials or even many more than that. And that's why it is said to be a process of converting a single or a group of different items. Now, you have to note specifically that you have to convert the items into a different form, maybe a different shape, maybe a different state, like solid, liquid, gas, and so on. It cannot remain the same. If it remains in the same state, then it is not a production process. A production process may involve one or more different processes, which may include cutting of a part into two or more parts, welding, shearing, machining, forging, annealing, normalizing, heat shrinking, painting, coating, rolling, riveting, etc. The list is endless. There are a number of different processes. There are a number of different types of production processes, and you can have any one of those. It can be a single process or multiple processes. Not just that, you can have the process of cutting, then normalizing, later on you can have welding, and then recutting also is possible. It depends upon the needs of the product, how the product is how the product is designed, or what the customer requires. So there is no hard and fast rule that every process has to be undergone only once. Every process can happen at least twice. For example, in a coating process, a pipe coating process, you have coating applications 3 or 4 different times in some cases, depending on the needs of the customer. Now, what do you require to perform a production process? What are the qualifications needed? Are there any minimum requirements? Do you require any infrastructure for it? The first basic thing that you would require is raw material. Without a raw material, you cannot have a production process. It is similar to a wedding function. The basic need is that of a bride and a bridegroom. A wedding hall, a priest, or a judge can come later. Even guests may or may not be there, but the bride and the bridegroom have to be there. Similarly, for every production process, you require a raw material which can be converted into certain finished goods. Apart from this, you need a design for manufacturing of the finished goods from the raw material. You need machinery to manufacture the finished goods. You need a space where you have to keep where you will need to keep the machinery. You will need to keep the raw material, and where the manpower, your people will assemble and manufacture the product. Apart from this, you need consumables. Consumables are those items which are used in the process but certainly will not be present in the end product. For example, welding electrodes. Part of the welding electrode would be there in the welding, but that is not the major item. It's still called a consumable. You need utilities like electricity, gas, etc. So basically, for a production process to be successful, you need a combination of various items which include raw material, which are also called the inputs, machinery, tools, etc., a space which is the factory or the workshop. You need people which form the manpower and who are going to work on the machines as well as on the raw material. You need consumables which will be used, which will be added to the raw material at certain stages. And you also need utilities like electricity, water, etc., which shall always be required for operation of the machinery. You will need electricity to provide illumination within the factory premises and so on.